Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. Venerable Shanta Sobhana and the devotees, his devotees, brothers and sisters, children, friends. Well, I'm happy to address you today. I'm afraid I couldn't let him know earlier the date I was coming because I was in the last two places I was in. It was not easy to get any telephone calls out. But sometimes no internet. The last place I was is East Island. They call it Rapa Nui. So, it's an interesting topic. How to make a lasting foundation for happiness. So first we have to, before we go any further, first we have to try to understand what happiness is. So most of the people in the world, happiness is getting what one likes and rejecting or escaping from what one does not like. And if you make this the base of your happiness, you're certainly making sure you'll never be happy in your life. Simple. Why? Because if I give my mind everything what I like and keep everything what I don't like away from, if my mind changes, that's a problem. Immediately, supposing you have a very favorite dish which you would love to have for breakfast. If they give it to you every day for 2 weeks, will you still be happy? No, you'll change. You say, no, I can't have this every day. I want something different. Now this is the nature of the human mind. That's why you can't build anything on this foundation of getting what you like and rejecting or escaping from what you don't like. So what was the Buddha's attitude, his advice? Is getting what you need and being satisfied with what you can get. And being flexible with your likes and dislikes. For the peace and harmony in the moving present. You must never forget this. For a Buddhist, you must never forget this present is moving all the time. 45 years Buddha spent teaching people the importance of living in the moment mindfully. So I come to hear that it's a big business these days. I even gave a talk at a company called Mindfulness Limited. Over 100 people there. So here it's going on also in America. They don't call it the Buddhist teaching, it's not important. For the Buddha it was not important whether you call it Buddhism, it is the others that call it Buddhism. Buddha always called it the Dhamma. Dhamma in Pali, Dharma in Sanskrit and Sinhalese. Here it means a teaching. Also Dharma means the nature of life, the phenomena that governs the world, the universe. He said, he is not the founder. It has been lost. People have forgotten. He just found it. But he's not the original founder of the Dhamma. Dhamma was always there. And what he calls the Dhamma, the reality. Reality of the nature of your mind and body. I mean, they said, if you can observe the nature of this mind and body, when you realize it, you realize that is the nature of the universe. Impermanence. All that. That all things are subject to change. Except the phenomena that controls. So it's very important that we establish for each one of you what your happiness is. Don't. We've been believing what we've been conditioned by the others, getting what you like and rejecting what you don't like is the base of your happiness. When you understand the human mind is something that is changing all the time. We try to control ourselves by putting some rules and things into our mind and says, this is what is happiness. So without establishing what happiness is, we cannot establish a foundation. So how to be happy? So this is a mind that is changing all the time. Body is going through changes all the time. Every millionth of a second. Only apparently we look the same as we were yesterday. But you look at yourself every 10 years, then you'll see the changes. And of course, every moment, every second we are getting, whether you are young or old, you're getting closer to death. So most of the people in the West, death is the end. But the reality is death is only a change, a big change. All the time mind and body is changing, but at death you get a new chassis, new body. You start all over again, going through the same suffering as a baby, as a child, growing up, going through the changes, puberty, chemical changes in the body, youth, then you become more mature as youth, then start the middle age, old age, wearing out, or disease, and death. This is common to all beings, not only human beings, all living beings. So it's very important too. So how can we treat this body and mind? How can we look after this body and mind? Now most of you know how to look after the body. You can go to the extent of pampering your body. But even to use the body, mind is the headquarters. But to start with, mind is the most important. If you act and live with a pure mind, that's very good. If there are impurities in your mind, until the impurities are removed, you go through suffering. So to understand the body, of course you get all the anatomy and physiology, all advanced at the moment. But the mind, especially the West mind, is very difficult to accept the mind. They have no idea what the mind is about. But in the teachings of the Buddha, he says the mind is most important. But there is no fixed abode. Other senses have a fixed abode. Touch, cold and heat, body. Color and visual form, eyes. Sounds, only between certain frequencies. We can't hear all sounds. Nose, smell, tongue, taste. Ears, sound. Now, each of these senses cannot observe the field of the others. Do you understand this? Is that clear? Eyes cannot hear, ears cannot see. It can only observe one's own field. So how are we to function? When you drive a car, you're in the driving seat looking at all the data in the instruments. You're in control, right? But now, how are we able to live? How are we able to move? If the intention to get up doesn't come in your mind, you'll be sitting there for the rest of your life. People have to lift you and take you home. So the mind is regarded as a sense, and the most important sense organ. Not organ such as, but it's sense. Why? Because it has no fixed abode, like the other senses. That's why the West has been unable to accept it and see the importance of the mind. I can't, for me it's like, with all the advancement, with all the intelligence, why people in the West cannot accept that mind is the most important sense. Mind can observe its own field. You know what the field of the mind is. Thinking, figuring out, planning, imagination, creativity. It's all the field of the mind. But the mind is capable of seeing the field of all the other 5 senses. Getting the data from the senses and making us live, move, walk. If the mind sense is not there, the ears will hear. Eyes will see, but we cannot function. The mind has to give the orders to all the senses to work in harmony together. So without knowing, realizing the nature of your mind and body, how can we expect to know what happiness is? So that's why most people have decided if they get what they like and if they don't keep away from what they don't like, they're happy. Only for a short time. Then the mind changes and says, I want something different. So like I talked before, when you think that your husband or wife is making you angry, there comes a time you decide to change the husband or the wife, get a new one. So it'll be all right for a short time. But then again, this new one will also make you angry. So what are you going to do? Change. What are you doing? Changing the pillow for the headache. It's the anger that you have to get rid of, not the object of anger. Can you understand? It's the anger you have to work and get rid of the anger. This powerful reactive nature of the mind. Probably we've been going on this for many lifetimes. So it's a very powerful. It's not something that you can say, I'm not going to be angry from now on and stop your anger. I've tried it for many, many years and it never works. It's something you can't do. You cannot be in control. Because it's a very strong reactive nature, habit. So we have to learn to not to change the pillow for the headache, but get rid of the anger, not the object of anger. Not the husband, might be the country. The moment you have aversion towards the country, you leave the country and go to another country. Wherever you go, you'll have that aversion. It doesn't happen immediately, but it'll slowly work and you believe it. So Buddha said, no, you don't have to get rid of the object of your anger, you only have to get rid of your anger. But to get rid of your anger, you have to know how to. The same thing with strong desires. Now sometimes with certain amount of rigidity, certain amount of firmness in your mind, you'll be able to be in control of the senses, especially your desires. But then there are what you call sleeping hindrances. We call them sleeping tigers also. When they arise, either in the form of desire or from anger, you have no chance. You are not even aware of it. They take complete control of you. Maybe only for a short time, but you are vulnerable. We human beings are vulnerable. Supposing you can get rid of your desires by controlled, being firm, but these sleeping desires, sleeping aversions, when they come up, you have no chance of being in control. To deal with that, you have to have something very powerful like meditation. It's not easy to meditate, but once you acquire the skill, it's not difficult. It's only with meditation you can remove these, in Pali it's known as anushayas, the sleeping defilements. When they arise, you have no chance. Unless you are practicing mindfulness all the time. So then you find being mindful all the time becomes the key. Not only mindful, but mindfulness with clear comprehension. The Pali words used by the Buddha is sati, means very sharp, not an ordinary mind, but a very sharp mind. Sam pajanati, fully knowing with wisdom. Prajnam danayani, knowing fully with wisdom, with a sharp mind. It has to be, this mind has to be acquired by practice. This mindfulness with clear comprehension, once you acquire it, you find that it slowly starts in your meditation, it slowly starts coming into your daily life. Sometimes it's even coming to your dreams. I was having a dream, being invited to dinner. Once I am not invited for dinner. I sat down at this table. I was about to eat. Something was telling me, no, you can't eat. You're a monk. So the mindfulness came even in the dream state. But this doesn't mean that I'm mindful all the time. No, I have to go quite a way to get there. No. But it's of course, in mindfulness you also realize that you can't think of many things at the same time. Buddha says mind can only handle one conscious at a moment. One conscious at any moment. Not have two consciousness at the same time. But we feel that we can do many things, think of many things at the same time because the speed of the mind. It is so fast. So that's why you can't see it. But in meditation you slow down and you see clearly. You can see clearly, then the mind cannot, when you are sitting in meditation, if you move any part of your body, you cannot do it without the mind making that, deciding to move. So the moment you move the body, you have to leave your object of meditation. Where goes your concentration? That is the reason that you are not supposed to, when you are meditating, not supposed to move at all. Some people, they are meditating and they go on doing this, twitching the toes. It's okay, I can meditate. You can't. If you move any part of the body where the movement, intention of the mind is necessary, you are leaving the object and object becomes moving the body to get away from the pain sometimes. It's not the answer. So, to have a good solid foundation for happiness, you must know very clearly the nature of your mind and body process. Even food, you must know what is good for you and what is not good for you. The amount what is right. Drinking also the same. So everything has to be controlled. But once you realize the nature of your mind and body, You don't have to think of controlling it, it happens. Once you realize the nature of fire, you don't ever want to go near fire. Be in a position where your clothes can catch fire. No. You don't have to even think or figure out, you just move out of the way. That's realization. You have realized when you're a little girl or a boy, when parents tell you, child, don't touch the fire, it will burn you. We don't listen to it. We wait till they go out, we put your finger. For the rest of your life, you don't have to have that. Once you realize the nature of fire, your mind doesn't have to realize it again. This is fully recorded. Fire can burn, can cause death, cause a lot of suffering. Without going to all this, if I ask you what happiness is, you probably have something different to say. So first we have to understand the nature of this mind. The nature of the senses. What are its limitations? Then only we can establish a lasting foundation. As you know, in the foundation, if anything goes wrong, the rest of the building is affected. So it's a foundation that is important. That is what the Buddha is talking about, right view. In the Noble Eightfold Path. The first is right view, right description. Buddha gave us a description. But he said, you have to realize that by looking with your own mind, within your own mind and body. Then only it will help you. He knew. He spoke out of experience, but the moment we listen, it is information to us, right? Correct? Yes. Words. So, he said, what I have given you is a description. And I will give you how to see what is described. And just as he did, he went under the bo tree, or called Ficus religiosa, the oldest venerated tree in the world, you know. He sat down. No telephones, no computers, no iPads, no books. Just sat down, closed his eyes, almost, and started by observing the breath. He said, all the Buddhas in the past used mindfulness of the breath as the first meditation object. There are many. He has spoken about 45 meditation objects. But that is to suit people of different temperaments, characters, you know. So generally, it's only Buddhas and enlightened Arahants can see what this particular person object should be. The general object is mindfulness of breathing. That's what we teach. We don't want to make a mistake by giving the wrong meditation object to people. What do you mean by, what do I mean by wrong? Just to give you an idea. If you're a person who have been meditating and observed the nature of your mind and body, you're not happy with this mind and body. You're not happy with the nature of the mind and body. In fact, you're not happy with living with this changing mind and body. Can you hear at the back?
Yeah.
So, if I give you to look at a dead body, a body that has been dead for a week, where when it's all the liquids are coming, little worms are coming out, what will you do? You will commit suicide. That is not an object for that person. That person already realizes the nature of the body, is already not happy with the body. And if I ask him to look at a dead body, 1 week old, he'll probably end up committing suicide. Because he doesn't need to know about the body, because he's already realized the nature of the body. So like that, there are certain objects that can only suit a particular person. But mindfulness of breathing is an object that anybody can use. So that is what is normally used by all of us, all meditation teachers, Buddhist monks. We don't want to take the risk of giving the wrong meditation object. Because what you don't realize in meditation is you are working with the mind of the human being. So, once you look within and see the description, you're not looking with the description in your mind, you're looking just at what is happening in the mind and the body as it's moving. Then you see what is described by the Buddha. Then you can see, after seeing what is described, then you can check it out with what the Buddha has taught, whether it's in line with his description. So if we have altered the Dhamma, the teaching on the way, after the Buddha has spoken 2,600 years ago, if anybody has altered it, we would know. When we look within our mind and body, that somebody's altered it. That's why it's difficult to change the teaching. It's difficult to change the Dhamma. Many people would say, I don't believe in it. Okay. It's okay. If you want to be ignorant of the way nature is, the way things are, it's okay, we don't mind. But if you want to live in peace and harmony and happy within this mind and body, you've got to know its nature. Otherwise, you'll be all the time changing your pillow when you have a headache. Oh, there's another one, it says. The well is empty and you keep on changing the bucket. And I'm sure most of us have been doing, I myself have been doing this. Until we realize that is not right. So, the right view is to have the right description of the nature of your mind and body. Without it, you can't have the right aspirations. Right action, right speech, right action. All this has to come from that base of right view. When you start realizing the nature of the mind and body, and then there's right livelihood. If you're in some sort of profession where it's destroying life, helping to destroy life, you soon get away from it. Life not only human beings, all beings. Because today is very difficult. Big companies are so complex, we don't know what they're up to. They have so many different companies dealing with sometimes arms, ammunition, bombs and all that sort of thing. But we can be as much as we can know to be careful, not to get into anything that will give you the wrong livelihood and establish bad karma in your life. So it's very important to you that first right view, the right description. Just accepting the Buddha's description is not enough. Our ego is not happy. I have my own description. Why should I change my description of the nature of my mind just because this man from India or Sri Lanka said it? That's the nature of our ego. The ego does not want to change its views and opinions because it's afraid it will lose its identity. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. That's the reason. For no other reasons, because it's based, our views and opinions is a strong part of our ego. That's why we fight. Just because of views and opinions, you got all the problems from the home to corporations, to big associations, governments. All because of wrong. Each one is attached to his will. Refuses to change when it's necessary for the peace and harmony of the moment. Later on maybe change, but not when it's necessary. This is the nature of our ego. See, when you're doing the metta meditation, when I'm describing it, if you carefully observe, what do I say first? May this body and mind that is living in the moving present be well and happy. Then I say, may I be free from greed, hatred, delusion. That's the ego. The I. So meditation, the thinking process is important to come to the temple, sit down, to listen to the talk, to be inspired by it if it's inspiring, to practice meditation, to sit down, to get up, all that. The thinking process is important. But once you sit down and establish yourself, your mind becomes one-pointed, ego goes to sleep. There's no me or I meditating anymore. It's meditation from moment to moment, or mindfulness from moment to moment. Of course, these words, the personal pronoun, I, me, mine, is important for two things: for reflection and for communication. Other than that, there's no importance in the words. To live peacefully and happily. Otherwise, words can create a lot of chaos and suffering for yourself and others. Can someone see the time there? I can't read it. The reflection on the
7:58.
Huh?
Almost 8.
Almost 8. I'm asking upstairs how much more time do I have? Huh?
30 minutes.
Okay. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to give them something a little bit more deep. So you see, it's not as simple as it looks. This This I, me, my mind is so complex that it's almost established itself as a reality to most of us. Everyone is thinking of making the I, me happy. But it doesn't know how to be happy. So you have to know the contents of this I, me, mine, the personal pronoun, why it is necessary, what use can it be used for. Remember, communication and reflection. So therefore it's necessary to have names so that we can communicate. If I say man come here, all the men will come here. I said woman come here, all the women will come here. So we have these names, That's all, nothing else. That's the only use. But in this thinking process, we have created a human being that is not subject to change. Human beings that cannot be satisfied. The I and the me that we created cannot be satisfied. There's no end to satisfaction. After leaving home, I was almost like a prisoner in Sri Lanka. So I went wild, landed in London, young man, just at the right time. Started with the flower people, Rolling Stones, Beatles, the jeans revolutions, all those things, I went through that. Seeking for happiness, just like you people. Every time I reach that goal, I say, after a little while, I'm happy, and then say, what next to make me happy? So you always say, it's a chase. It's a journey, there's no end. As I said, if I get everything I need right now, I don't have to say everything that I dislike. In a short time, I will change my likes and dislikes. Then how can I make myself happy then? That's what happens in your life. Sometimes you're not aware of it. When you reach a goal, when you say, I'll be happy when I'm there, when you get there, for a short time you say, okay, I'm happy, but after a little while, what's next? What is next so that I can be happy? So I went along and suddenly I realized this is just a journey, there's no end. Changing the outside I did. Everything I could change. But couldn't find happiness. And slowly I started realizing the changes have to be done here. We can't change the world. You can't change your own mother or father or child. We can try it. We can give them guidance or direction, but we can't change them. Only person whom there is a possibility of change is yourself. If things are happening and you don't like them, you're suffering, right? But you give up the dislike. And you don't have to like. You just give up the dislike, suffering ceases. I hope you have realized this in your life. So, that's why the Buddha said, try to get what you need, satisfy your needs, not your greed, not your desires. One person's desires cannot be satisfied with everything in the world. He starts with his house, the dog, the cat, the car, then a house in another part, in Spain or some place where you go for holidays. Then you decide to have your own airplane, yacht, you know how people go on, there's no end. Then you go on buying lands, islands, if possible a country. There's no end. They're changing all the time. They think in the change there is happiness. There's no happiness in the change. So only momentary. So, when I said, if you have to deal with what you don't like, you only have to give up the dislike. It does not mean that you have to like it. Non-aversion is also a factor of enlightenment. Sometimes it's difficult to like certain people who are completely, almost out of their mind. Then we can say they are out of their mind and have compassion, but these are people who are living normally, accepted as normal, but completely difficult people to be with. So when you have to be in the company of such people, deal with such people, just make sure in your mind that you're not indulging in thoughts or aversion towards them. You think when you are thinking, oh, this guy, he's bad, he's not good. You think the other person doesn't know. He doesn't hear it, but he feels it. The other person will find some reason to be nasty to you. You're not saying anything, you're only thinking. Negative thoughts about me. He becomes aware. Not his normal mind, his consciousness becomes aware and reacts immediately to it by producing some unhappiness. Sometimes, animals, if there's fear in your mind, they can see that. Then they'll jump at you. If there's no fear, then they'll be afraid of you. Instead of jumping at you, they want to run away from you. So, when you come across people, really bad people, that you know completely living a bad life, have compassion. If you can't have compassion, make sure you don't think bad thoughts about them when they're around. That is how to protect yourself. Insurance companies cannot protect you from these things. I think the best insurance is free. Keep the 5 precepts. That will keep you away from a lot of problems and troubles in your life. A lot of bad company. So, it's important to know the nature of your mind and body. A body you know to a certain extent. But then you think, the body is the same tomorrow and day after. It's not the same. It's not the same. I myself thought so. It's not the same. It goes on changing all the time. When you start getting older, then you start feeling the changes much more easily. When you have to live with pain most of the time, then you wish you learned meditation. I have to live with pain most of the time. It's not bad. I don't indulge in aversion to pain, so I don't suffer from it. I just observe it. Took me a long time to come there. But of course with meditation it won't take much long. Meditation is the key to look after your mind and body. Meditation, you can know how to look after your mind body. First you see its nature, then it's easy to look after. When you plant a plant, you observe it, then you know how to look after it. You put too much water, you can kill the plant. So, sometimes for the present moment, we are happy to be nasty to someone, thinking it will be better tomorrow. No. It's the present moment that you have to be kind, compassionate to people. You know, sometimes people hurt the other person, like teaching, but you can't teach with aversion. If you want to teach, you have to have compassion to teach. The other person will be aware of the compassion. So happiness. Another way of saying about happiness, to be content with the way things are in the moving present. Try to remember this. Accept the present, because if you don't accept it, you can't change it. When you are ill, if you don't accept you are ill, you won't go to the doctor or take any medicine, right? First you have to accept that you are ill. It's not pleasant, it's not good. But that's the reality, you have to accept that you need. Then how to overcome the illness. Take the tablets, medicine, if that fails, go to the doctor, go to surgery or whatever it is. So we have always learned to accept the way things are in the present moment. Accept it without aversion. We can accept it but with aversion. And that produces a suffering. Now when you finally, after practicing, you learn that you can transcend pain. So you think, from now on I don't have to worry about pain. No. Now we have to get rid of that habitual reaction of the mind with aversion to pain. For some time, every time pain arises, you will be reacting with thoughts of aversion. You become mindful of it, you let go of the thoughts of aversion, then you realize gradually that pain can be transcended. It's not too difficult. Anybody can do it. You don't have to have a PhD or a degree for that, Just learn to observe pain without wishing it to go away or without wishing to escape from it. In my life, for the last 25 years, I don't have to suffer from pain. Never take any painkillers. Not even when my dentist I didn't ask her, didn't give me an injection, and she was drilling already into the sensitive part of the teeth. And I said, okay, I have to try the practice now. So I just observed it without aversion and there was no suffering. I felt the pain, but it was not bad. See, we don't realize we exaggerate the pain by aversion. The thoughts of aversion you produce exaggerates the pain. That's why the more you want the pain to go away, the pain becomes more and more. No, it's not the pain, you are exaggerating the pain. When you stop those negative thoughts, you realize it's not too bad. So pain in meditation, pain becomes to most people the first insight. That pain can be transcended. But of course, the companies that thrive on painkillers won't be happy to hear this. No, never take any painkillers. No, after that incident, I don't take any injections or any dental work. That's when I really realized that it can be transcended completely, even the most excruciating pain. Somehow I'm sleeping slowly away. I think you have come to the right temple, right place, and the right teacher. He will help you to understand the nature of your body and mind, body of which most of you know, but he will tell you. He has almost like a doctor, he knows the inside and outside of the body in detail. I was surprised. So even the body, he can tell you how to look after it. Mind, he can give you the directions from the teachings. So, if I hope I have not confused any of you. If there's any places where you have doubt, you can speak out, ask questions, give statements, or criticize. It will all be taken with compassion. Go ahead. Time to ask questions.
No questions. How can I be at the present moment? I'm good right now because I don't have to move. But then, is that how can I go back to that comfort zone?
Well, what do you want? Just be in the moment. When you
What moment?
Yeah, just the moving present. You're okay right now, just accept it and be okay. Don't project negatively into the future. Your how is coming from the future, right? Not now, you said you're okay right now. I'm trying to be very sharp here, get your mind to see what I'm trying to make you see. If you are really in the moving present, fears and worries will not harm you in any way. Because you leave the future to future, let it come and be present. But make sure the present, your mind is clear, balanced. So if you're right now, you're okay, keep it up. When the future comes, that'll be okay also. It's the best state of mind to be in. If you start worrying about the future, what might happen in the next moment, you're already suffering before the future arrives. Can you see that? If you start thinking, when you're asking the questions, you're asking about, now I'm okay, but what will happen later on? That's okay. Later on, who is there will be able to deal with it by keeping peace and harmony right now. Keeping your mind in the moving present. Can you understand what I say? Are you beginning to understand? Right. But still you can ask a question. Go on, what were you asking?
Oh, because when I apply it to my daily life, it's like when I'm here, I'm good because
that's what you were saying. Yeah. So when you gradually do some more meditation, then it will slowly start coming into your normal life. You see, it's not by reading the Dhamma or listening to by being Buddhist I became a monk. I was just going through life as most of you people, ignorant of the nature of the mind and body. And suddenly I started being aware, going into detail with everything. I eat something, I'm observing what is the taste, what is the nice taste, what taste is nice. Then I see once the food has gone inside the body and the taste has gone away, the same old taste that's in the mouth comes back. No matter how sweet or how nice the thing is, it's still the same old taste comes back into the mouth. I see this enjoyment of the taste is only temporary. It's from here to here. After that, the mind can be thinking about the taste for months. I know when we got this land for the meditation center from the government, when we went to take over, and one of the people in the workers in the estate, somebody brought some food. It was raining, you couldn't move. No shops anywhere near. And there was bread, but nothing to eat. And somebody, one of the workers, made a sambar. You won't believe we were speaking about the sambar for months. That sambar we had that way. Everybody was like that. But the taste had gone a long time ago. Do you understand? You go to a restaurant and come out and say, oh, food is fantastic. And you go talking about the old taste and everything has gone, the same old taste in the mouth has come back. You're making believe now. So these are the wrong views we have. Out of these wrong views we think the taste is there all the time. And then when you go for the next time, for the same place, the same restaurant, you're expecting the same taste, but you don't realize it's not the same taste. You have evolved since the last time you went to the restaurant. You have become, if it's 1 month, you have become 1 month closer to death. Or if you are young, to old age. So that's how I started. Observing everything that I thought was happiness, I was observing right from the beginning to the end, of course. Nobody else knew about it, it was only a silent observation. Then I realized that all these things, what you call fantastic, they are only very temporary joy. So we try to extend that joy. Sit down and allow joy to arise in your meditation. What happens? First you get a flash of joy. You don't know the reason, nothing. Just joy arises. Second, next time joy stays for a little bit longer. Then you say it's joy, not a flash of joy. Next time joy stays for longer and then turns into happiness. Joy becomes happiness when sustained. And then happiness is sustained, it becomes bliss, rapture. No, that is something that I cannot explain. You have to experience it yourself. It's something that you feel in every cell of your body. Rapture. Especially at that stage, all your hindrances are completely suppressed. So you see, happiness, joy. So understanding the nature of your mind, I think, especially the body, you know most of it, becomes very important for you to be happy. You know, the person who is busy doing something all the time, that person needs to be doing something all the time to be happy. If this person has to be just doing nothing for some time, becomes unhappy. In fact, to do nothing for some time, I'm not unhappy. I accept it. A lot of things that you don't have to do anything to be happy, just accept. A quiet mind, silent mind. So, I don't see any more. Yes, sir. And the 5 minutes left.
So when your mind gets to where you're feeling this joy and happiness, how do you recognize if it doesn't start clinging to that and trying to make that
No. You have to bring awareness that it's impermanent. That's it.
So you can just enjoy it in there.
Then when it goes away, you're not suffering. When you're having something that makes you joy and happy and it goes away, normally there's happiness, no? Unhappiness. So when you know, when something that makes you happy or goes away, this is nature of life. How wonderful, I'm free. If it's a person, right? Can you see that? Of course, I'm unhappy because so and so is not with me. That's wrong thinking. Just start by saying how wonderful I'm free. Changes everything. Of course, if you want to, if you like suffering, of course, go on saying, oh, I miss you, I can't be without you, you know. How the lamentation, somebody, especially when somebody dies, people go on lamenting, oh, I miss you, I can't see you, oh, what a bad. And then you make the other people around you miserable, you know. So I say to them, when I come across Christians, I say, well, God has given you mind and body. You can play sweet music instead of confusing sounds. That's accepting the nature. So all the time, especially in your meditation, don't get attached to any of these states of even bliss. Enjoy it while it lasts. When it goes away, it says bye-bye. If it comes back again, it's okay. If it doesn't come back again, it's okay. Impermanence. Just 1 minute more. Yes.
Nature's changing, Sadhu. All the time, climate is changing.
Climate is not changing, but not the phenomena.
But
Wait. Climate is changing,
yeah,
but not the phenomena.
not the phenomenon.
Phenomena that controls doesn't change. Impermanence doesn't change.
Okay.
Climate can change, but phenomena that complete so. Impermanence, that will not change.
Not change.
Non-I. There is no permanent being called I in this body and mind. It's moving, changing, all the time from you're born till you die. Yes.
So is the ego just a sensation or is it an object?
Well, I would say it's a product of a thought process. You know, we start using this I, me, mine for communication. After some time, we forget that it is not a reality. We think it is a reality. Then the I get hurt. Then the I can be proud. Pride and hurt will not be there when you give up the I. Your attachment to the I. The stronger your ego, the stronger you hurt. I'm talking about the mental hurt, not the physical. Stronger, the weaker your ego, less suffering. When you let it completely go, then there's happiness. But impermanent. Even the Buddha says, all the enlightened beings, they also go for a holiday. But it's called the Nirodha Samapatti. They go into a state of mind, they enjoy it. They're in complete bliss, more or less. There's no thinker anymore. I'm enjoying, I'm in bliss. No anymore. It says that if a doctor examines you, they might think you are dead. And you cannot be killed when you are in that higher state of consciousness. It's only meant for Buddhas, silent Buddhas, and enlightened beings. We have to develop ourselves up to that to enjoy those realms of happiness. Okay? So I hope these few words, don't worry about the words, try to see whether the meaning of the words will help you, to inspire you, to have more happiness, to build a strong foundation of happiness, lasting happiness. Once you understand the reality of the mind and the reality of the nature of the mind and body, you realize it is also the reality of the universe. Because you are a cell of the universe that you are living in. You're not different from it. So what applies to you applies to the whole universe. Then also you realize most of the phenomena are all cyclic. Although we are taught in school there is a beginning and an end, the phenomena of the universe has no beginning and has no end. We can't understand it because we've been conditioned to believe that everything should have a beginning and end. So we find it difficult to accept cyclic processes. But it is. All the phenomena of the universe are cyclic. Like birth, death, birth. It doesn't end there. And it's not the same person. It's only the continuation of one being. Not a different person either. Not completely different. So, may the blessings of the Triple Gem bless you all. Whatever merit that you have acquired during this period, may we share with all the divine beings and spirits that rule the universe. May it help them to come across the teachings and transcend the suffering.